Greetings! Today we discuss our version of The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas, Ryan's old laptop, and our successful tour of Happy Chance House on this episode of Big O's Adventure
Ahoy, buggers! Welcome back to Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast. This is the podcast where we plunge into the who's its and what's its galore of the inner workings of Bear Ghost. We are here to talk today about another cover. I am Ryan, I play guitar.
And I'm Buns, I play the drums.
I am Andrew, and I play the bass.
I'm Tigbot.
Do you play anything, Tigbot?
I mean,
Pong.
yeah.
Wow. Got a big laugh from Tigbot because it hits close to home, I guess.
It's so old. Are you kidding me?
Friends and fellow countrymen, today we are on tour. We are out on the road. We played our 17th consecutive sold-out show at Jackie Chan's house. And we are here to release a cover for you. Today we're doing Paul Dukas's Sorcerer's Apprentice.
And let's be 100% honest here. We talked a lot about how Paranoid Android was a lot bigger of an undertaking than we thought. And so this song is something that we had on the back burner that we are putting out to give us a little bit of breathing room while we are on tour.
That does not mean we don't like it.
No, it's great.
It is fun.
Thanks, Tigbot. We actually really like this one. In fact, this is how we opened the first two legs of the first tour ever tour, was with this song. We took it out of this leg because on those first two legs, I got kind of bummed out watching people's blank faces until we started Stephen Bradley. Well, there'd always be one really cool person like losing their shit in the front row.
It was Paul Dukas.
Man, he's like an ancient person at this point. When was this song written? In like the 1800s?
1897.
Yep. So
That's why he's crazy enough to just yell his name.
I have a fun Dukas! That's all he knows how to say anymore. I actually have a fun fact about that. The Sorcerer's Apprentice was a poem that was written in 1797.
And it went like this. Do, 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 do. All those words rhyme.
Yeah.
That's why it's a really good poem.
Yeah.
The internal rhyming, every single word.
Yeah. Nobody rhymed like
No, it
Paul
was-
Dukas.
He wrote the poem, too.
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. The Disney short in Fantasia is a recreation of that poem. But Paul Dukas wrote to fit that poem. And I just think that's really cool. That it then just came full circle and then was used for Fantasia, which was a recreation of the poem to the song. That's just...
It is awesome. This song is just so good. It's so iconic. It has all the cool notes. It is way more complex than you think it is. Like, people all know... Like, people can hum that no problem, but they don't understand that they are not humming a cohesive time signature whatsoever.
We were opening our shows with this, and we were getting mostly blank stares for 2 minutes, which is why we stopped doing it.
Maybe people were just awestruck. They're like, I can't believe they're covering Paul Dukas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Paul Dukas!
We've had that a lot. I mean, I remember finishing all of the Peas and Love tags after we're playing Franz Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody #2 and being like, anybody Franz Liszt fans out there? And you'd have one guy like,
Yeah, the band nerd.
Franz Liszt. Everybody should know that song, though.
But now that we're releasing it as like a full-fledged podcast cover, maybe now people will want us to play it.
Maybe. There's no vocals in it, though, and sometimes it feels like people care less if there are no vocals.
It's true. This is the first entirely instrumental song that we've released solely as an instrumental song. No?
No, we did Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies.
Crap, you're right.
right.
Well, no.
Crap!
Buttons yells in that.
He does say
I do.
He does
Does his best Jack
That doesn't
Skellington.
count, does it? Or
No, it doesn't really count.
yeah.
It was musical. You did it with
Gusto.
My favorite is you going Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
I love it. When you did that in the studio.
Well, I was trying to draw it out. I was like, I
was-
can't do this in one
it
breath.
was great.
I'm glad you liked it. Cool.
Our Christmas covers. Boy, do people not listen to those.
Some people do.
I just think that people don't like Christmas very much.
Yeah,
and
I'm
which
not a big fan.
And people view us more as a Halloween band, which totally makes sense, but they also don't know that so much of the reason I write music the way I do is because of how much I love Christmas music. Yeah. What's weird is that all the stuff that I like about Christmas music, I turn that into my own stuff, and then it becomes like Halloween music. So I don't know how
You are the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, exactly. Everybody's first time hearing the song was probably watching Fantasia, right?
Oh,
yeah.
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 I was obsessed with it.
I still think Fantasia's great for
Doodah.
the first.
Come
I
on,
still
that
think
was a-
Fantasia's great
Doodah.
until a certain point, and I don't even know if it gets to be worse at that point. It's
It
just
doesn't.
that
You're talking about where the dinosaurs are fighting and volcanoes are erupting, right?
because every time I watch Fantasia, no matter what time it is, I fall asleep with the dinosaur part.
Andrew always starts watching Fantasia at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's true.
after he's been working in the coal mines all morning. I could get all into like the background of Disney nerdism and be like, this is how he chose the song. And here's the critic of a certain newspaper that he was working with when trying to choose these songs. And this is how they, whatever. Who cares? Nobody cares. I don't even care anymore. I think this song is something that I've always thought was really cool. And for years, I thought it would be awesome to do a Bear Ghost cover of it. And it wasn't until our first tour ever tour where I was like, I'd really like to open the set with this. And Andrew was pretty much just like, do it then. Like how many, you've been saying this for years. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. It's not going to be a problem. It was a problem. Not in the same vein as like Paranoid Android, because like I said with Paranoid Android, transcribing that song was not the issue. I did that in like less than an hour. I don't have a musical background and I cannot read music. And if I did, transcribing Paul Dukas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice would not have been an issue because I could have just read all the parts. But because I can't read music, I was literally just with my guitar, like struggling to hear an oboe in the background and being like, here's what the oboe is doing, you know, and like transcribing all that part by part. And then plus it's like the runs happen so quickly so much of the time that it's like,
I know. Sometimes you can't even make it to the bathroom.
it was very difficult. So transcribing it is one thing and then being like, let's put this into a rock rhythm. The song itself goes, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It is impossible.
It is impossible.
The whole reason I wanted to do the song is because I wanted a big fuck off ending doing the do 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 dun, 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 dun. But when trying to write that part, I was like, you cannot do this part and have a groove. So I literally just extended that part. I just took a shit all over Paul Dukas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice and wrote my own parts to fill that out into a 4/4 timing. It's really fun to play. I really like that part.
You pretty much did it accurately to what it is in the composition. And when you brought it to us, like you sent us the tracks and I think both Buttons and I were like listening to them and just like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like it was
you even
hard
like,
to
would send us our parts like and how like this is the part that is played in the actual song. Just learn this and we'll go from there. And I was just like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
because the counts would be so wild.
Yeah.
You know, as we were getting together, trying to piece this together, I just realized, like, dude, why don't I just make it simpler and make it a marching thing?
Yeah, originally
Yeah.
the drums that I wrote for it were stupid as always. just way too complex. And then Buttons was like, I'm going to do this marching thing. And it was like, wow, that really does help quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he still had to make sure he had his kick accents and
Yeah,
his
the
cymbal
accents,
accents,
right.
which were in absurd places. And
Yeah.
so trying to make sure we got the counts for those down was crazy. And so Andrew took a lot of that on himself.
The note changes are in really weird spots, but that first part wasn't so hard for me. I just kind of like remembered the pattern and where I was supposed to shift based on where the melody was. But then it's when you start the second part, the that timing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in my car listening to this over and over again, trying to time out how many counts it was. And I think I came to the conclusion that I was just like, okay, it kind of makes sense if you count to 13, but then the last time you just counted like 6.
Yeah.
And that didn't make sense to anybody, including me. So
Again, none of us have any music knowledge.
yeah, keep that in mind when I'm making this sound stupid. This is literally what I sent to our group chat for me and Buttons to understand that second part. It's 5 counts of 3, 2 counts of 8, 2 counts of 4, 10 counts of 3, 1 count of 4.
Yep.
That's some
So now you all
right
get
there.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's how Dream Theater does it.
We ended up simplifying it to 5 counts of 3, 3 counts of 8, 10 counts of 3, 1 count of 4. But the way that the accents are, doing the 3 counts of 8 in the middle of it was harder than doing 2 counts of 8, 2 counts of 4. So that's how we have it down. Once I had that, honestly, it all clicked, but that sounds ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous. And then Buttons did a great job of, it almost sounds like an insult saying simplifying my stuff. Like
To
it's
who?
just
to you or
no, to you to be like, oh, he had to simplify it, but that is not the case. Like my parts are so absurd because I am an idiot. Like
Yeah.
I just don't write drums like a drummer. I write drums like somebody who doesn't understand what a drummer does.
Well, that and you tend to,
Overcomplicate.
well, you overcomplicate though, because
You have 8 arms. So,
when you write things and you're just like, this isn't coming together the way I want to, your first thought
Is
usually
to put more.
is more,
Yeah.
more. So
Well, okay. The program that I use to do all my programming, my drums sound pretty fake. So when I'm writing out a drum part, if I have your just standard 4 on the floor, like tit-tit-pat sound, that hi-hat and snare, there's no making them sound like they have any life to them, right? You can put a drummer behind a drum kit playing that same beat and it fills out the sound more. So if I have like a big drum part or something that's supposed to be like carrying a little bit of weight, my drum set on my program does not do it. So I end up adding more to fill it out and make it sound livelier. And then Buttons will take it and go like, dude, you can take out all of these toms and just listen to the way me opening my hi-hat just a little bit widens out this sound, or the kick has this kind of like natural verb to it, and the snare has more crack, and your cymbals have more of this. So you don't need to be doing all this extra stuff. And I have been taking those notes into my drum writing and until you listen to Paranoid Android.
You're also kind of limited to that version of Reason.
Reason is the program I use.
That version's from what, 2000?
Probably.
7 or something?
I use Reason 5. I refuse to do anything more advanced. These days, I run everything also through like a modern version of Reaper, and I go through Contact 7 to get some other stuff, but I don't do any of my programming in those. I always bounce down my MIDI files, and then I move them to Reaper and then open them in Steve Slate drums so that they sound more like real drums, and that's how I can kind of tell if my drums are good now.
We've tried to get Ryan to use a more modern version of Reason.
You guys can eat
Yeah, see, that's the answer we get.
Yeah, every time.
I'm so technologically inept.
You're set in your ways.
And I don't want to take the time, especially because I just keep getting better at it. So I don't want to like switch to a new thing that I'm not going to be good at. We did talk 2 or 3 episodes ago about how I made the Jiminy instrumental cover on my phone with the Notes app.
With the marker tool.
Yeah, with the marker tool on Notes app. So it's like, that's what I'm working with.
I just love to make it hard on yourself.
I just love to make it, or even the original Bear Ghost logo that we did. I loaded that up into Microsoft Paint and I took a picture of it with my phone and put that picture on Microsoft Paint.
This is why you think I play Pong.
Pong, isn't that the newest, most recent cool video game?
I use a program that's browser-based to do all of my image editing.
I don't even know what that means.
It's called Photopea.
Photo?
Yeah. A while back, I was just like, I should probably like find something more reliable that I can use offline or that can do more specific things. And I got a trial version of the most current version of Photoshop, and I was like, I hate this.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
I am getting better now at wanting to sit in something and like learn it more.
You got to understand how you got to where you're at, because when I first met you, all your laptops took like 15 minutes just to get Windows loaded.
So first of all, he's genuinely not exaggerating. Second of all, he says when he first met me, it was less than a year ago that he gave me my current laptop that doesn't take 15 minutes. So all of the programming that you hear in Jiminy, and most of it on Blasterpiece, all that kind of stuff, I did on a laptop that took over 20 minutes to get into my first program.
To start
it up. So now I'm moving at a much more rapid clip thanks to Buttons, because he genuinely is an IT guy. I don't know how to install programs. When I was opening up my Reaper DAW, I didn't know how to do any of my VSTs or have any of that stuff come. This is going to sound like gobbledygook to a lot of people.
I don't understand it.
I just loaded up ChatGPT and I was like, how do I do this? And they were like, do this. And I literally... Sorry, Tigbot. With ChatGPT, I had to be like, you don't understand. This is my first time using this program. I have never done anything like this. You need to give me step by step by step. And they're like, okay, open the file folder. And I'd be like, stop. Where's the file folder? Like this, I'm not even joking. I had to talk to ChatGPT like this all day. And so I've come a long way, because just in the last 4 months, I'm recording commercials and editing commercials every week for this podcast, recording my own songs, recording
all
of
those are our actual sponsors.
Oh yeah, whoops. Cut that out. That's why Jiminy took so long to come out. That's why it took a long time for my laptop.
6 of the 7 years of Jiminy was just us waiting for Ryan's laptop.
Yeah, we were just staring at a loading screen the whole time.
I'm like, guys, I have so many ideas though. This is gonna be so good when it loads up. Anyways, enough about my ineptitude. Paul Dukas is the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Dukas.
Paul Dukas.
Paul Dukas by Rammstein. There's something about classical music and classical pieces that is just so cool and so difficult to match with the way that music has evolved over the years. And we were talking about Galactic Empire, who almost exclusively covers songs from the Star Wars soundtracks.
note for note.
Note
I
for
mean,
note.
it's metal, but
Yeah, it's in a metal style with guitars and drums and bass and everything, but they do it note for note in the exact time signature. They don't adapt anything. They do it exactly the way that John Williams wrote it in a metal style. And I remember talking to you and I was like, I don't think any other genre of music could do this. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you take classical pieces like this and you were to try to do them in a genre note for note without changing any of the time signatures or the way that the piece moves, how would you translate that to a pop band? Or
I mean,
punk rock.
Okay, I'm getting into semantics here. First of all, I guess you are meaning modern pop, right?
Yeah.
Because there's part of me semantically that wanted to be like, well, pop music in the 40s was heavily based off of classical music, and that's why they use so many better scores and stuff. And there's a lot you can hear in that time period where they were doing, like Duke Ellington had a whole, I think he did the entire Nutcracker with his
that's
jazz band,
right.
and it rips. But then again, you're with jazz musicians who just understand music on a level that I couldn't.
That's why I was gonna say, like, I feel like jazz could do it.
Jazz
definitely.
could.
I picked a really bad example.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This song's really fun. I like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Like, we'll do some little microchips thing, and like, you guys don't have to like the song. This is a blast for us. I'm sorry it doesn't have vocals in it, but I got to rest my voice for all these Jackie Chan performances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jackie Chan is very grateful. So if anything, you guys have made Jackie Chan happy.
Now he's Happy Chan,
It's kind of good.
right? I'm gonna pitch it to him. All right, Jackie, have you ever thought about
Tonight's
this?
performance.
Tonight's performance is dedicated to Happy Chan.
He's just like, oh.
This song, it's super fun to play. It's just fun to play because the whole thing is like an exercise because of the movements and stuff like that. Like, to Andrew's point about classical music, you just don't have that much movement in modern music, and genuinely, unless it is like more like rock or metal and stuff like that, but like, or jazz. I hope we're not trying to say that we did a metal version of it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to sound that
I
way
don't
at
think
all.
of it that way.
It was a separate thought experiment that I had listening to Galactic Empire and being like, what other genre could do this note for
I bet
note?
you EDM could.
That would probably be pretty sick. It
Or
depends.
like a dubstep version, like
Well, you don't even really need the snare. You could just have the boom,
yeah.
boom, boom. So I guess maybe we should delete this version and do an EDM version.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going on a tangent now. You mentioned punk earlier, and for some reason, punk and covers, it just made me think about myself, which I don't.
You're so punk.
There's nothing I like talking about more than how punk I am. My journey with what I think a cover should be started with punk covers. Covers of My Heart Will Go On, covers of the Pink Panther theme song, or even some like more classical pieces and stuff like that. This is when I was like 11 or something. I was like, I don't like punk, to my friend who was like, "You're as big of a punk as you can be when you're 11 years old." And he gave me this album of covers because I guess he's just like, you'll be familiar with these songs and you'll see what punk can do. And I literally played this record constantly. I loved it. I can't think of any of the songs that were on it.
Me First and the Gimme Gimmes album?
No, but
or-
Me First and the Gimme Gimmes is pretty cool.
Yeah. They
Not pretty
do-
cool. I
yeah.
said that like, they're all right, you know. But no.
Pretty cool.
We're better, but
I mean, if we're better than Radiohead, we're better than Me First. I love Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, but I'm sure there was like some Newfound Glory and stuff
Oh yeah,
on there.
Newfound
Like,
Glory. They did stuff like that.
look into my eyes. Have you heard that song?
Oh yeah.
That's one of the songs that was on this record.
Okay.
You can't tell me it's not worth fighting for. So a song would be a lot faster, and then it would get to like the chorus, and then they would halftime it. I just loved that. This is what you do a cover for. They were super recognizable, but they were in a completely different style. Now you have this Disney record that came out not too long ago where they did, it was like a new shape, a whole new sound or
I think it was
whatever.
called.
I loathe this record because it's like taking the idea of what I just said and taking all of the charm out of the songs. They're like, let's take all the cool chord progressions out. Let's take all of the sound and the character. And
It's the most soulless.
oh my gosh, it's so hard. I'm sorry for anybody out there that likes this record. It is the most heartbreaking thing. Not to be like, well, they didn't do it like we did, so I hate it. But like, I try so hard when coming up with these covers to do something different, but maintain the spirit of what I think is cool about the song. And I don't feel like any of these did it. The first track on the record is not so bad, and the last track is actually like really fun too. This is all to ask where your journey with covers started.
God, I don't remember.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew?
The first time I saw Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, but I didn't know they were a cover band.
Right.
And a lot of their albums are themed like Have a Ball, which is like ballroom stuff, or a drag, you know. So they did cover.
These are all songs about drag racing. Drag shows, isn't it
You were
actually
thinking
called
of,
drag
like,
racing?
Yeah.
Drag
it's-
Queens Racing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's difficult to
and
do in heels.
So they played a cover of Rocket Man, and I thought that was like, yeah, that's a cool cover.
I think mine started more in hearing covers and like we've talked about at length on this podcast, being like, what is the purpose of this?
Right.
I honestly think this is maybe too cliche of an answer, but I think the first song that was a cover that I was just like, oh my God, this is how covers should be, was Smooth Criminal
Oh,
by Alien Ant Farm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that's not what I was expecting when you said too cliche. I was gonna be like Hurt.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Johnny Cash.
That is an
Yeah.
amazing cover.
Yeah.
I
so-
didn't hear Hurt until several years after I heard that Alien Ant Farm
Oh
song.
man, in general, that Johnny Cash record is phenomenal top to bottom. But and I understand that there are people that don't like the take, but I'll listen to Johnny Cash's version of that song over the Nine Inch
Oh,
Nails version
yeah.
any day.
Yeah.
And I love the Nine Inch Nails version, but like it just doesn't do the same thing.
No.
Like I don't
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a completely different thing that you're getting from that song.
Mhm.
right.
And I would say that Smooth Criminal version is the same.
You know who's an underrated band? And I'm not saying that I like particularly like love them or anything, but Alien Ant Farm. A lot of really juicy drum parts and bass parts in their music. And that guy has the alfalfa haircut, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
It's fucking so cool.
It's coming back. The alfalfa.
I wish.
Is it really?
No.
Oh my God.
Anyways, playing the song was really fun live, but we just not doing it. We just not doing it. We're putting the time into like making sure that people are hearing Bear Ghost songs. Plus, the last time we played it live, do you guys remember this? It was our homecoming
I don't
show.
remember. Oh.
We were playing our sold out homecoming
Your
show.
guitar.
And the way we do it live, it has an actual cut from the original Sorcerer's Apprentice in it that is like 2 minutes long to like build suspense for us coming in. And so it's building and building and building, and then bam, here we're supposed to slam in, and my amp wasn't on. And
That's right.
yeah, and so
I remember this very much. 'Cause you told me to stop.
I stopped the show, which you're not supposed to do. There's a general like you know the show must go on, like just play it off or whatever. But I don't really care about things like that, so I just stopped it and I looked at all of our friends in the audience and I was just like, my amp wasn't on. We're gonna make you sit through all that again, and everybody just pretend we haven't been here yet and you didn't see any of that, and everyone was just like, woo!
Yeah.
And then we went on and played like probably the best show.
That was a great show, yeah.
It was a great show, but that's too long of an intro to make people sit through to f- up and then play it all over again. So we'll never do that again.
Well, I mean, who knows if people like this cover now?
They won't.
Now they won't just stare at us blankly for 2 minutes when we play it.
It's fun to play,
It is fun to play.
so maybe we will. But if I mess up, it's hard to find a place to come back in though, and the whole thing is just like one big long lead. And I've never said this on the podcast before, but your boy Ryan, not a very good guitarist.
Get better.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just get better. Anybody have anything else to say about Paul Dukas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Probably his most underrated song.
He was way ahead of his time.
Let's load up that Discord.
Maybe this one is relevant for 3Ha.
Spit it on me.
Any new merch coming soon?
We're on our tour right now. We have
There's new merch.
some new merch.
We're getting better at being a band. We're getting better. Like I didn't know how to find artists for a long time, and now we do. We know how to ask more what we're looking for, and we've been very just kind of like, would you maybe consider doing this for us? And people would be like, go f- yourself, and we're like,
Who are you?
yeah. Our merch game is getting better. Our just general idea of putting stuff out is getting better.
We want to do more. It's just, especially going on these tours, a lot of times we have very ridiculous or elaborate ideas, and printing shirts with a billion colors on them is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually have to scale back our ideas to make it affordable.
Have you seen the fan animatics using your music?
I am constantly shocked at how many there are. So it's like, on one hand, I want to say, yeah, but like, there's always more than I thought there were. And I would say literally 9 times out of 10, I am blown away by the fan animatics. And I think on 2 separate occasions, I've had Do reach out to the artists of the fan animatics asking if they wanted to like let us pay them to make it a real thing. And we just go unanswered.
Yeah, I actually relatively recently got a response from a short clip that was just all done in like pencil of Rivers animation. And it was like this really like sketchy kind
I
of.
loved it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And I messaged them and said, hey, I kind of want you to make a whole music video with this. And I got an answer like maybe a couple months ago, I think, where they were just like, this went in my spam folder for some reason, and I'm just now seeing it. And I'm like, that sucks, because it's like the window's kind of passed. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I would love to do something like that. I love that style. So,
guys, keep doing it. Like don't do it because we told you to, like we love it though. We do see it. They do get shared. We have a word on the street hashtag in our shared Slack channel, and that's where Do and Buttons post all of the crazy stuff that our fans do and say about us. Crazy, like crazy amazing. A crazing.
yeah, we should.
That was good. Someone should coin that. Someone should put it on a coin.
You got one of those crazing coins yet? That's a bad joke.
I liked it. What song was the most fun to work on with Jiminy?
Peas.
What is your thought process there? Like, what are you thinking of was fun? Was it like us in the room putting it together, or was it us in the like studio, like using slide whistles and
The studio and the slide whistles and stuff like that.
I think I had the most fun working on Heavy News.
Okay.
In terms of being in the room and writing it. I don't think you can beat Peas in the studio because we were using distorted kazoos and
Yeah.
these little like woo whistles and stuff like that. Like that was just so much fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. What about you, Buttons?
Writing, I really had fun with sirens, and it made me excited for the direction that we were heading and what our sound was going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That felt like a big breakthrough.
Yeah.
Well, I
Will always love you.
I'm now realizing I forgot to.
You forgot to feed your child.
I forgot to flush the toilet at Jackie Chan's house, and I can hear him walking down the hallway to it.
He's going to be unhappy.
He's
Chan.
whistling so happily, and he's about to be so upset. So,
Oh no! Oh no! Leave me alone!
we hope you guys enjoyed Paul Dukas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Bear Ghost.
And if you didn't, we don't care.
Okay.
We're not going to play it again ever.
Well, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Who knows? Anybody seen Ted Lasso?
I have.
That's charming.
It's been on my list to watch for like 3 years now, but they keep releasing more seasons, and it's just so daunting.
Stop doing that.
Well, they haven't released 4 yet, right?
Who knows? I've only seen the very first episode as of last night.
Oh, okay. So the first
Jackie
two,
Chan and I
the
watched
first
it
two
together.
seasons, very charming and great the whole time. Third season's kind of it got a little weak for me.
Game of Thronesy.
They
They have a Red Wedding episode.
It kind of felt like they were like, "Oh, this is our thing, and we know it now." And it seemed like they were almost trying to do it instead of it just being the way it was. So I'm still gonna watch it. Like I wouldn't go as far to say season 3 is bad. Like,
Okay.
but it's just my least favorite of the 3.
Got it. Well, there you have it. We're better than Ted Lasso. I love you guys. It has been an absolute joy touring with you guys. I remember each and every single one of your faces and the looks of disappointment y'all shared when we did not play Paul Dukas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice. This has been Bear Ghost Events, the podcast.
We'll see you next week.
Have a nice fall. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Special thanks to our Kickstarter backers. Next week we will be discussing When I'm Dead from Jiminy. We will see you then.